Welcome to Books and Booze, a bookish and wine and juice podcast. Whether you're a fan of books, wine, or true crime, this is the place for you. Pour yourself a glass of whatever you enjoy and enjoy the show. Cheers!
Every 90 seconds, someone is reported missing in the UK.
If you are able to see or hear this, please, please, please come home. You're not in any trouble because we love you so much. We want our beautiful, wonderful little girl to come home. If there's something bothering you, we can help you to fix it. You're not alone. You will never be alone as long as me and Dad are here.
This is a case that I wanted to cover because, although I don't know the family and have no connection to them, this is a case that haunts me every day. Every morning on my way to work, the posters of Leah Croucher's missing face loom overhead. I'm not discussing this case today for any personal benefit. I'm doing it to raise awareness. It's an infuriating case, one that does not have enough media coverage, and the parents of Leah Croucher have actually started a petition to get a certain amount of signatures to get this case more media coverage. I also think that there's a lot of misleading information out there about this case, rumours, things that aren't true. So while I did try and research this as much as I possibly could, I do apologise if I get something not quite right. Leah Croucher was a shy, introverted homebody who lived with her parents in Emerson Valley, Milton Keynes. She loved Twilight. I also heard she loved Harry Potter. On one website, I actually found that she used to write short fantasy stories herself. One thing that she was really good at was martial arts, which she used to practice with her dad. On the 14th of February, 2019, Leah walked home from a full day's work, taking her usual route. She changed out of her work clothes and walked to go and see a friend. She returned home at 10 p.m. that night. Her parents claimed that she seemed totally normal. She simply got home and went to bed. On the 15th of February, Leah's parents left for work before she got up. Once she was up, she laced up her Converse shoes paired with black skinny jeans, a grey hoodie with the Stuart B logo on it, a black coat and black rucksack. Once again, she took her usual route to work. But she never showed up. While it was odd that she didn't show up for work, no one raised the alarm. It was only at 6 p.m. that night, when she didn't return home from work, that her parents reported her missing. Police tried tracking the location on her phone, but the location settings were turned off. CCTV footage got her walking along Buzzercott Lane, hands in her pockets. This is the last sighting recorded of Leah Croucher. Her mobile company confirmed that Leah Croucher had never turned her location settings off on her phone before, and from that day on, they were never switched back on. Upon further investigation, it appeared that her location settings were actually turned off the previous day at 5:45 p.m. Her friends were questioned, and no one came forward saying that they'd been with her that night. Yet she told her parents she was going to see a friend. To this day, no one knows where she really went that night and who she was really with. Records also show that her phone was switched off completely just after 8:30 a.m. on the 15th of February. This too never got turned back on. There were 3 different witnesses that came forward, claiming that they had possible sightings of Leah the morning that she was last seen. One witness claimed to have seen Leah texting by the lake. 2 other witnesses came forward, saying that they saw her by the lake, but she was upset and crying. When they saw her again a little while later, she seemed to have calmed down. These sightings all happened after 9 a.m, yet her phone was switched off just after 8:30 a.m. So the question is, what phone was she using, if it was indeed her that these witnesses saw? And why was she so distraught? The lake and the surrounding area was searched. Police worked tirelessly to try and find her, to no avail. 4,000 homes were visited, over 100 potential witnesses were spoken to. For about 7 months, the case just went cold. Then, in October 2019, a woman came forward. She was walking around Blue Lagoon Lake that day. She said that she'd seen a hoodie near the water, and she recalls it having the Stuart B logo on it. Divers immediately went into the lake. Sniffer dogs were used on foot. There was a 10-day search, but nothing was found. It was around this time that more information was uncovered, and although they are rumours, I think it is important to mention them. Supposedly, Leah was seeing someone who she worked with. The problem was that he was engaged to be married. Her mum had apparently warned her not to fall for him, and thought that she'd stopped seeing him. But had she been lying? Upon reflection, her parents say that her behaviour had changed slightly. She'd become moody, snappy, argumentative. She spent a lot of her time locked away in her room, sulking. But to them, and any normal parent, you would think it was just normal teenage attitude. The behaviour of a 19-year-old. I think it's important to say here that a lot of people are adamant that the man Leah is rumoured to have been seeing was really just a work colleague. And who knows, perhaps she developed some kind of one-sided infatuation with him. We don't have any full confirmation of what their relationship really was. After her disappearance, bank statements were looked at. Just 2 weeks before she went missing, she told her parents that her and her girlfriends were booking a hotel for a girls' night. They were really happy that she was getting out there with friends. Her dad dropped her off at the Drury's Inn in Milton Keynes. But when they were looking through her bank statements, they realised that she hadn't gone to the Drury's Inn that night at all. Her statement showed that she'd checked into the Travel Lodge, a much cheaper hotel close by. There are assumptions now that she didn't have a girls' night that night at all, but actually booked a room in the Travel Lodge to go and see this engaged man. Unfortunately, it had been such a long time since that night that the CCTV footage no longer existed to validate their theory. Another assumption is that it is this man who Leah went to go and see on Valentine's night, the night before she disappeared. Even though the police could pull cell phone records, they could find nothing regarding a secret relationship. This leads me to believe that she definitely had a secret phone, especially considering she'd been seen texting on a phone after her phone had been switched off. Police also ruled this man out as a suspect because apparently he has an alibi for the date of her disappearance. There is tons of speculation around this case. Many believe that she ran off with this guy who gave her the secret phone. Some think that she got pregnant and he freaked out and did something. Others suggest maybe the fiancé found out and she did something. It's been compared to the case of Heather Elvis, who was seeing a married man, and the couple ended up killing her. As I said, this is all speculation. On the one hand, it breaks my heart for the parents of Leah Croucher not knowing what happened to their daughter, not having that closure, not knowing if she's still out there, living and breathing, if she's being held against her will, or if she really is gone. And who did this to her? On the other hand, it must be mortifying for Adnan, the man who Leah was apparently seeing. If he didn't have anything to do with it, can you just imagine how something like this would completely ruin your life? There were rumours going around that he was in an arranged marriage, and some are even saying that maybe his family had something to do with her disappearance to stop her from interfering with their plans. It must be horrifically scary and soul-destroying, especially if he is innocent. But will we ever know the truth? Leah's brother, Hayden, was certain that Adnan had something to do with her disappearance. He ended up threatening him and having a restraining order put in place. Hayden had actually told a therapist that he was struggling to cope after her disappearance. And 9 months after the 15th of February, Hayden took his own life. The siblings were close, and if Leah had run off, her family are certain that she would have returned for his funeral. Her phone has never been switched back on. There's been no activity on her bank account. She literally, simply vanished into thin air. Something else I stumbled across during my research was that travellers had been staying in their caravan close by the lake that same week that she disappeared. Could it be as simple as an abduction? In February 2020, Leah's father said he knows that someone is withholding key information. Many think that he was talking about Adnan. This is a mystery that haunts Milton Keynes to this day, and it needs as much exposure as it can get.